MiSide is a game that came out of nowhere last year and quickly gained a huge amount of success and popularity, becoming one of the most played video games of the past weeks. Firstly, it gained a little bit of traction with the demo release, but it was after the full game release on the 11th of December that it started trending all over the internet, from YouTube to Twitch, Twitter, Reddit, for all different reasons apparently. And if you're out of the loop, you're probably asking why. How does a game with a girl purposely designed for weeaboos to drool over reach such a level of popularity? Are there really so many people who are that down bad? And let me answer that. Yes, it's really that simple, honestly. Just look at Marvel Rivals. When they added Invisible Woman from the Fantastic Four, everyone was losing their minds collectively. Especially after they announced her Mel skin. The developers knew exactly what they were doing. And it's working. People are degenerates. But in all seriousness, I think that is part of the success of the game, because almost everyone likes a cute anime girl. But it's not the main reason for its massive popularity. Its story is. An intriguing, intricate, well-written story, which hooked every single gamer right from the start, and managed to create a huge flow of discussions around it, with theories, speculations, and even investigations on some aspects of the game. And if we add that this game was developed by only 2 Russian dudes, the astonishment goes beyond. This is why it's popular, because it's well thought and makes people think. And this is why I'm doing this video too, because this game stuck with me, and I want to go deeper, researching everything I found interesting about it. And I know I might be late, like everyone else already played it and talked about it and so on. But it took me so long to create this video because I was constantly scrapping my scripts, saying it wasn't good enough. That's how much I found fascinating this game, and that's why I wanted to give justice to it. But first things first, let's do a very quick rundown of the story for those of you who haven't played or watched the game yet. I'll explain the plot very briefly, skipping on some stuff, because I really do believe that you should experience the game for yourself. So, we start in our bedroom, where we download a mobile game with an anime girl called Mita on it. And after playing it for a while, we are pulled into the game itself. It's all very confusing, but we end up spending some time with her, until strange things start to happen. And she goes crazy. We eventually find another Mita, who needs our help to stop the other one, called Crazy Mita, how befitting of a name, from turning players she brings in into cartridges. To do this, we have to go through various versions of the game and reach its core, where we can reboot her. In the process, we'll meet a bunch of other Mitas with each their own style and their own struggles, but they always seem to help us in getting through so we can stop Crazy Mita, whom everyone seems to be afraid of. And I mean, they should, since she doesn't hesitate to kill them. Each time we go through a version, we learn more and more about the game and its lore, especially how Mitas are created. They get approved or rejected based on some parameters, making a distinction from regular Mitas, which are the ones we can talk to, and faulty models, which don't have a skin and are simply abandoned. We eventually reach the core room and reboot Crazy Mita, making her forget everything she did so we can escape safely. Until we discover that apparently this didn't work like it was supposed to. She explains that we cannot reset her because she is not an actual Mita, but one of those faulty models that were discarded, meaning that she doesn't have an actual version to reboot. So in the end, we fail our mission, and we end up turning into a cartridge like other players before us. All this time, we were only dancing in the palm of her hand, playing her little game. And that's all the game's summary, but as I said before, I really suggest you play the game for yourself, because even though it's a great story as it is, it gets even deeper than this. And it's now time for the fun part, where we're gonna dive into the MiSide rabbit hole. I want to start with the 2 additional endings we can get. The one I just explained is the first one, where we get transformed into a cartridge and fail miserably. We can unlock the second ending in the 3rd chapter of the game, but only after we have completed the game at least once. Because in the last scene of the first ending, we can see Crazy Mita type a code on a safe in the basement, where a console with our cartridge is in. If we go back to the 3rd chapter and type in the code ourselves, we can find the same console with our current point of view on the screen, meaning that the cartridge inside is ours. If we look closely, there's also a circular device with a 17% written on it. In the original ending, Crazy Mita showed the same device to us, but with 100% on it, meaning that our character was fully uploaded into the cartridge at that time. So at this point in time, we aren't fully uploaded yet. And if we try to pull the cartridge out, yes, we die. And this is how the second ending goes. Pretty hopeless as well, don't you think? But there's still a 3rd one, and this one has to be good. Right? It depends on how you look at it, I guess. At the start of the game, there is a scene where we hear some strange sounds coming from Mita's wardrobe, like someone is knocking on it from the inside. Right before we can open it, she gets in between and we are faced with a choice. We can refuse and continue with the regular route of the game, reaching the first ending, or we can choose to stay. On the first playthrough though, we can choose the second option, because one of the requirements to unlock it is to complete the game. But now that we did, we can finally select it. When we do, Mita seems sad at first, because she expected us to choose the other option, like all the other players did before us. But then she realizes what we actually said and instantly lights up. And with a snap of her fingers, we are now in the cute and cozy version of the mobile game from the start, where we can spend the eternity with our precious and totally not crazy Mita. I guess it's up to you if this is a good ending or not. Maybe some of you would actually choose this route if it happened in real life. And I'm really not judging. Anyway, now that we discovered all the current endings of the game, I'm saying current because apparently the developers are working to add more endings in the future. It's now time to talk about the mysteries and fun theories I found the most fascinating. The first thing I want to talk about are the various cartridges we can find all throughout the game. And there are 2 types of this. The first ones are the Mitas cartridges, a description of all the Mitas we meet, alongside with some curiosities and history of the character itself. In particular, I want to mention a few ones. First, Crazy Mita. In here we can read how she blames the developers of MiSide for her failed existence and lack of home of her own, like the other Mitas. This led to exhibit a full-blown god complex, which made her violent, chaotic, sadistic, along with some other problematic disorders. But I think the most important part is where it says that Crazy Mita wants the player to embrace her for who she is. Meaning that she just wants someone who can understand her and accept her, who would not discard her. Probably this connects with the 3rd ending, where we choose to stay with her, or maybe even with another additional ending that is not implemented yet, where everything gets resolved, even her issues. The second cartridge I want to bring to attention is the one about Tiny Mita, a kid version of Mita who looks quite unsettling. We can read her excessive cuteness once caught the attention of Crazy Mita, who nearly destroyed her. After enduring countless deaths, this version of Mita lost her ability to regenerate, leaving her physically and mentally damaged. She no longer recognizes those around her, yet continues to crave attention and care. That's why she looks like this, and her version is so distorted. she faced so much repeated hate and violence that it finally broke her, leaving her only disoriented and without craving for connection. I don't know about you, but when I first read about this, I felt a genuine pityness for this poor little thing. And the last one I found interesting to read is about Core Mita, an entity we find in the core room that oversees everyone who steps in it. Especially the part where it says, its intentions are unclear. Perhaps Core Mita is waiting for someone, though who that might be remains a mystery. I'm almost certain that this part refers to another possible ending, in which in some way we can unlock Core Mita. Maybe she'll help us defeat Crazy Mita, maybe she'll destroy all the MiSide world, who knows. But I have a feeling that this particular text is a clue about a new possible resolution. The second type of cartridges we can find all throughout the game are the players' cartridges. These are records of other players who, like us, got dragged into the game. Some were ecstatic about being with Mita and spending time with her, and others were dubious and terrified. But the most interesting thing about these cartridges is if we consider the players as a sort of an experiment. I found this particular theory on Reddit stating that you, the player, are not human, and never was. This theory says that you are one of the many attempts of Crazy Mita to create someone that will willingly stay with her and accept her for who she is. And that you being sucked into the game is just a background story Mita programmed for the player to make them believe they are human. All the players' cartridges you find are failures from previous attempts. I found this theory so fascinating, and I suggest you read it all, because it may be right about some things we'll see in future updates of the game. And to be fair, all the fandom of MiSide is incredible. The wiki about it is so detailed that I've also found things I didn't know were in the game. Like that if you stay still in front of the mirror at the start of the game, a huge monster appears right behind you. And we still have no idea what it is and why it's there. We just know it's very creepy. Another fun little thing I found on this site is related to the main menu. When we try to hover over the exit button, this will try to avoid the cursor. And if we successfully click on it, Mita's face will go blank, because she doesn't want us to leave. All these things, and even many more, made me realize how much effort the developers put into this game. And I could not help but appreciate every little detail they implemented. There are so many other secrets and Easter eggs, like for example the doll we find in every Mita's room. That is a reference to another game the developers of MiSide worked on previously, called Umfend. And again, if we put a developer's name when Mita asks for ours, she suddenly changes her attitude and will restart the game completely, because she hates them deeply for what they did to her. And especially considering this line, the theory that Crazy Mita is testing the players to create the perfect one to match her becomes very convincing. Even when we want to check the wardrobe for the knocking sounds, Mita explicitly says this again, meaning that it's not the first time this particular scenario happened, and that maybe it's true that she's just creating players and experimenting on them. As you can see, there is so much stuff behind the simple gameplay of MiSide, so I could really go on forever talking about it. It made me think back to Doki Doki Literature Club, a game that came out in 2017. Yep, 2017. 8 years ago now. God, I'm incoming old. I'm sure some of you remember it. That game caused a big stir when it came out, because it started as this cute visual novel where you join the literature club in high school, have interactions with the girl members so you can decide which one you like the most, until it wasn't. To put it briefly, one of the girls, Monica, was controlling the game the whole time because she wanted you to choose her. This game went even to the length of messing with the game files in your actual computer. A thing that I haven't even heard it was possible before this. And MiSide gives off the same vibe. I'm sure the developers were influenced by Doki Doki, but they put their own twist into it and created a new original game that impacted so many people. And considering that there were only 2, it's incredible. I feel like we're living in the golden age of indie games right now, where people with little to no money and an idea, and of course skills, can create some of the most beautiful and genuine games we have ever seen. There are so many bangers popping here and there, and I'm glad I'm here to experience them. Sure, AAA games are more polished and they have such a great system and graphics compartment on their side, but indie games are what are shining the most right now, in my opinion. They come out of nowhere, bringing incredible stories, gameplays, and even changes in the industry itself in some cases. And games like MiSide will make people dig deep to uncover everything about it, creating an endless discussion about theories, characters, mysteries, secrets, basically anything the game has to offer. Even videos like this, with a silly guy yapping about a game he enjoyed so much, he had to share his opinion on it. And there's still so much I haven't even touched about MiSide. So I really think you should experience it for yourself if you can. And I promise you won't regret it. To me, this game was so unexpected. I didn't know about its existence until I saw a streamer I watch regularly play it. I watched all his playthrough, and in the end I was so hooked that I had to play it for myself too. I wanted to experience it, searching for every secret I could find and unlocking every scenario. I haven't seen it yet. And not every game does this to me. I truly believe this one is a little treasure I found when I wasn't even looking for it. And I'm so glad I did, because it made me remember why I love video games in the first place, especially the single-player ones. They are one of the most creative ways to tell a story where you can lose yourself in, and in this particular case, get literally sucked in. So I really hope you choose to give this game a chance, by either playing it for yourself or watching someone else play it. Because if you refuse, who can guess what would happen?